Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mindful Mondays, part of the Awakening Heart community at Dallas Meditation Center. We come to you live every week on Monday at 7:30 p.m. And we practice practical mindfulness for everyday living. And we have about a short, maybe 15 to 20 minute guided meditation and a talk. But for now, I'd like to invite you to check in the chat window if you would like, and let us know that you're here. And after our meditation and talk, we also have a discussion on Zoom. And a little bit later in our broadcast here on YouTube, I will post the link to the Zoom meeting if you'd like to join us for our sharing and discussion. But I'm really glad that you're here, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome as well. And if you're new, it's a pretty easy practice to follow along with. There's no right or wrong, so just enjoy. So hello to James, hello to Nico. Glad to see you as well. And we will begin with our opening affirmation. Some of you already know this, and if you do, you can say it along with us. Or if you don't, if you keep tuning in, you'll hear it each week. So listening to 3 bells, being present right here and now. May we and all beings be happy and free. May we and all beings transform our suffering. May we and all beings rejoice in all joys. May we and all beings be at peace, awakening to the truth of who we are, infinite light, infinite love, infinite life. So hello also to Patty and Rich. Glad you could join us tonight. So let's find that comfortable position. You're welcome to lie down, or you're welcome to be seated if you like. Turn off I invite you to turn off the ringer on the phone, maybe set it to do not disturb. And just take this opportunity to step away from those normal things that you might busy yourself with when you're home. And just take this moment to just be mindful and be present right here and now in this space during this time. Taking a few deep breaths to get us settled in. Our mindful practice and our meditation practice is not about shutting off the mind. Instead, it's about recognizing when the mind has wandered, when it's drifted, maybe thinking about the future or maybe remembering something from the past. That's just our mind working for us, trying to take care of us. But our goal is to just recognize when the mind has wandered and come back to the present moment. And the tool that we use for coming back to the present moment is following our breath. So just breathing deeply. Begin with our meditation. It will be slightly guided, and there will be some moments of quiet as well. We will do a guided meditation through the body and through relaxation. Listening to 3 bells. Finding that stable position, our spine straight yet not rigid, the head held high. The eyes can either be closed or slightly open in an unfocused gaze, maybe directed towards the floor. Shoulders relaxed, arms hanging down, the hands maybe in the lap or on the knees or clasped in front of you. And if you're lying down, maybe they're on the floor beside you. The face soft, perhaps a slight smile on the face. Breathing in, I am aware I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am aware I am breathing out. During this meditation, following each breath. No expectation, no judgment. Just following this one breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Following this next one breath. Breathing in, breathing out. No hurry to be at one breath or the next. There is only this present breath. Being fully present with this one breath. Breathing in, aware of that sensation of the air as it enters through the nose or mouth. And following it on its path deep within the lungs. Breathing out, following that breath along its path from deep within the lungs. And aware of the sensation when it leaves the body through the nose or the mouth. Breathing in, aware of the breath and following it on its path. Perhaps becoming aware of that point where the in-breath momentarily stops, turns around, and becomes the out-breath. Following the breath out of the body, all the way from deep within the lungs, feeling that sensation. Perhaps being aware of that brief point where the out-breath momentarily stops, turns around, comes an in-breath. Noticing those gaps between breaths. The gap between the in-breath and the out-breath. Between the out-breath and the in-breath. Finding that peace, that full presence in that moment. Celebrating any moment. That we can just be still. Even if for just a split second, celebrating it. No judgment on our times when that might not be so easy, or no judgment on the times when it's very easy to find that peace. Just be with it. Be with what is here, right here. No hurries to be anywhere else. Knowing this is where we are. And bringing our mind back to our breath. Breathing in, following that in-breath. Noticing when it turns around into an out-breath. Following that out-breath. All the way. And noticing when it stops and becomes the in-breath. Just breath to breath. No need for words. Breathing in and breathing out. Aware of our hands. Feeling that energy field around the hands. Maybe it's the warmth, maybe it's the feel of the cloth on your clothing, or the floor, or maybe it's the palms together. Noticing whatever that is. Grateful for feelings, grateful for the connections that our fingers and palms can make. Grateful for the sense of touch. Grateful for the fine motor controls of our hands. Sending our peace and gratitude to our hands. Breathing in peace. Breathing out a smile. Breathing in peace. Breathing out smile. Peace. Smile. Continuing to breathe in and out, aware of the hands, noticing how the hands are connected to the arm, the wrist and forearm, the elbows, the upper arm, shoulders. Knowing what a fine piece of machinery that our arms are. Aware of the connections to all the fingers. Aware of those connections all the way to the shoulders, all the nerves, all the muscles along the body. Bringing rest to our shoulders and our arms and our hands. Grateful for all the work that they do. Surrounding them in our gratitude, allowing them to rest, to be at peace. Bathed in gratitude, allowing them to rest so that they can be strong to work with us. Breathing in strength, breathing out a smile. Strength, smile. Strength, smile. Bringing our attention to our feet, their toes, and like our hands, aware of that energy around them. What is it that you feel? Perhaps your feet are on the floor, or perhaps they're raised, or if you're lying down, maybe the soles of your feet are just exposed to the air. Perhaps they're in shoes or socks. Notice if they're warm or cold. Maybe you can feel the texture of your shoes or socks or the floor or just noticing. Grateful to our feet who support our weight, help us to walk. Just sending our love and gratitude to our feet. Sending relaxation to our feet. No need to work right now. Letting them rest. Breathing in, relaxation. Breathing out, smile. Relaxation, smile. Relaxation, smile. Breathing in and breathing out, bringing our attention to the connection of our feet to our ankles and our shins, our knees, thighs and the hips. Grateful for all the work that our hips and legs and feet do for us, supporting our weight on the floor, helping to maintain our balance. Right now, allowing them to just rest, sending our comfort, our gratitude to our legs and our feet and our knees. Nowhere to be, just here. No need to work, just rest. Sending our power to our hips and our legs and our feet. Breathing in power, breathing out a smile. Smile, power, power, smile. Now moving our focus to the center of our body, noticing where the hips and legs connect and the arms, just this central core of the body. Now it contains the abdomen, the organs, the rib cage, the heart, lungs. All of this are organs and digestive system which work for us, all contained here. Our core strength, our power plant of the heart, our fuel tanks like our stomach and our lungs, fueling the body, fueling our cells. All of these pieces of our body that just work for us. We don't really ever need to think about them, just work. Taking this moment to think about them. Maybe sometimes they don't work as we expected, or maybe not quite as efficiently as they used to. These organs, our body systems are there working on our behalf. Saying thank you. Sending calm. Breathing in calm. Breathing out, I smile. Calm, smile. Calm, smile. Breathing in, breathing out. Finally, bring your attention to our neck, and our face, our ears, our eyes, our nose, our mouth, the top of our head, the entire head and the skull, our hair, lips. Breathing in light, breathing in fresh air, breathing out relaxation. Filling this space and head, hair, our neck, throat, tongue. Just filling that with our love, appreciation, and gratitude. Many of our senses right here: taste, smell, sight, hearing, all eyes see, but our eyes also communicate and say so much with our eyes. Our ears also used for communication. Our mouths and nose also. Grateful for when we know the right way to communicate, the right words, the right looking sincerely at the eyes. Being grateful for being able to observe our senses. Grateful that we can feed ourselves and that we can breathe. Grateful for each other, for the words someone else has used with us. Grateful for the sound of our loved one's voice. Grateful for the sound of our voice. Just allowing our face, our head, our neck to just feel calm. Gratitude. Breathing in, thank you. Breathing out, I smile. Thank you. Smile. Now, just letting the entire body be fully comforted, fully relaxed. Aware of our entire body. Nowhere to be except here. No other time except now. Grateful to be fully present in this moment. Fully grateful for any opportunity when we have strayed away from the present moment, when we can just breathing in awareness, breathing out smile, just for the next moment before we end our meditation. Awareness, smile. Awareness, smile. Listening to two sounds of the bell. My body is quiet. My mind open. So So take this time to come back, maybe wiggle the toes and fingers, move the shoulders, the neck, head. Just do a bit of stretching. No need to put any hurry or stress on the body. Just gently being aware of the body. Stretch. And if you would like, if you're able to, you can stand up and stretch a bit too. While we're doing that, I'm going to put the link to our chat and discussion, which we'll do in Zoom after our talk. Thank you for that info, Quan. I'll get closer a bit. And I'll also this, just in case this helps any. So you'll see the Zoom link in the chat. I'm also, while I'm at it, I'm going to put in the links for donating as well, and the donation links are also in the description of the video as well. But I'll add those to the chat. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that's probably just sitting back and was quiet, so I'm glad you can hear it now better. There are donation links, and here's how you can also donate through the phone and through text. So I'll add those. Okay. So after the talk, when we go to the Zoom meeting, you can copy that link or just click on it, the one for join us in Zoom. And that will open up a few minutes after this talk completes. But tonight, for our talk, I'd like to read this page, which comes from Jack Kornfield. The topic, he calls it "The Blues is the Truth," but the topic is really, about what we do with pain and fear, how our response is what we do. And this sort of comes from what we have talked about last night in our Sunday gathering, and then what Miles talked about at noon meditation today. So I want to continue a little bit with that. And it'll be a familiar topic to many of us who've practiced together. So this is "The Blues is the Truth," Jack Kornfield. In a healthy response to pain and fear, we establish awareness before it becomes anger. We can train ourselves to notice the gap between the moments of sense experience and the subsequent response. Because of the particle-like nature of consciousness, we can enter the space between instinct and action, between impulse and reaction. To do so, we must learn to tolerate our pain and fear. This is not easy. As James Baldwin put it, most people discover that when hate is gone, they will be forced to deal with their own pain. That's why we start by paying attention to small things, small pains and disappointments. To work honorably with anger, we must acknowledge the depth of the Buddha's first noble truth, the truth of suffering. There is pain in our lives in the world, disappointments, injustice, betrayal, racism, loneliness, and loss. As blues masters Buddy Guy and Junior Wells say, the blues is the truth. No strategy can keep us exempt from loss and sorrow, sickness and death. This is human life. Even if we try to avoid the truth, it is still there. A Zen saying reminds us, if you understand things just as they are, if you do not understand things just as they are, whether we understand or not, it's still the same. What is the medicine that Buddhist psychology prescribes for the suffering of aversion? First, we become aware of this force within ourselves. We recognize in our bodies the rigidity of aggression the pain of rage, and the contraction of fear. We become intimate with our frustration, anger, and blame. Second, we learn the differences between reaction and response. When we're in a hurry and the toast burns, we can react by fuming or hitting the counter, or we can feel our frustrations and put in another piece of bread. When someone cuts us off in traffic, we can angrily retaliate by racing up to them and shouting, trying to get back at them, or we can breathe and let it go. When we are criticized, when we are betrayed, we don't have to reinforce the pain of the situation by adding to the pain by our reaction. It's like two arrows, the Buddha said. The first arrow is the initial event itself, the painful experience. It has happened. We cannot avoid that. The second arrow, that's the one we shoot into ourselves. This arrow is optional. We can add to the initial pain a contracted, angry, rigid, frightened state of mind. Or we can learn to experience the same painful event with less identification and aversion, with a more relaxed and compassionate heart. Does this mean that we cannot respond strongly? No. Sometimes we need to get up, shout out the truth, march, protest, do whatever is necessary to protect our life and the lives of others. The great exemplars of nonviolence, such as Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., were strategic and skilled in this way. They rallied people, used the courts, broke the law, blocked the way, negotiated, and moved forward and back. They found allies and used money, power, shame, speeches, and politics, all to stand up for what was right. But they did not act out of hate and violence. This is a powerful example. When self-righteous anger arises, we let it go. Retaining our own fierce clarity, we too can seek justice, yet do so with a loving heart. So I wonder what your take is on that talk. It covered several things that we've talked about before. It talks about fear. It talks about the first noble truth, that pain and suffering are present. It also brings up the 5 remembrances that we talked about a few weeks ago, that pain and sickness are inevitable. They will happen. They do happen around us. It talks about the second arrow, knowing that pain or some other stimulus, that happens. But that second arrow, our reaction, that's the part that's optional. And then he reminds us that all this doesn't mean that we do nothing. No, we're called to stand up for what is right. We are called to take action. We're called to do that, though, out of love and appreciation and compassion, rather than because of retaliation or anger or fear. So a lot in that, and I'm looking forward to your take on it and how it applies in your own life. When we go to our Zoom discussion, you're welcome to also type in the chat too, or comment on this video if you're watching it later. What rings true for you? How does these concepts, how do they play a part in your everyday life? Be interested to hear. So here in a moment, we'll go to the Zoom meeting, and it'll take me a couple of minutes to get over there, but you can find the link up in the window. And ask also that you participate in Dana and supporting this practice and these activities of the Dallas Meditation Center. Because during this time when we cannot meet in person because of social distancing, the need is great to be able to continue to do these. So the donation links are on the chat window. They're also in the description of the video itself. Thank you all again for being here tonight. And with that, I'd like to close. And so let's close with our 4 vows of awakening beings. Many of you know this. If you do, please sing along. Otherwise, you can just follow along. Countless beings we vow to free. Ceaseless afflictions we vow to end. Limitless truth doors we vow to open. The deepest paths of awakening we vow to advance. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see those of you join us over in the Zoom meeting. We'll see you in a few minutes. Have a great